And right now at 7, the Israeli military airdrops aid into Gaza after creating a starvation crisis, but warned they're not done fighting.
And it's a foggy morning with alert day conditions expected in the afternoon. The full forecast is coming up.
Plus, it's only July. Why parents across the country are already going back to school shopping. And once again, good Sunday morning to you all. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Arman Rahman alongside Jacob Madison. Michelle Renee Quinn, of course, is off on this Sunday, July 27th. And quite a foggy, I can see it kind of like resting there in the bottom of the weather cam. There's lots of fog out there.
That was a really cool image. And if we look at the current visibilities across our area, we are seeing visibilities down to near zero for some locations. You can see it firsthand. Definitely noticeable, and in some cases it is a little bit on the hazardous side. Like I mentioned, if we look at our current visibilities, some areas are at zero. Now Madison is a little bit better, but still not ideal right now. You can see 0 to 1/4 of a mile for areas west, especially in southwest Wisconsin and across Iowa. Definitely just take it a little bit slower if you have anywhere to go this morning. Dense fog advisory until 9 a.m. for most of the area. Now the fog will clear up very quickly once we get to around 9 to 10 a.m. But what won't clear up, or rather what will get worse, will be the temperatures, and that's where we have the alert day, as heat index values are going to be near 100, and the alert day will continue for Monday afternoon as well. So looking at the current conditions, not too far off from normal for this time of the morning, but those temperatures are going to rise pretty quickly. Most of the area will see highs at near 90, plenty of sunshine as well, really allowing those temperatures to warm up, and the heat index values, those are going to be in the middle to upper 90s, if not close to 100. And it looks like the warmest air will be in southwest Wisconsin. So a very hot day. Overall, we're going to see temperatures get to the 80s as early as around 11 a.m. to noon. And the actual temperatures will be right around 90. But again, the heat index values will be a bit warmer. And this is going to continue for Monday, but we are going to see a lot nicer temperatures at the end of the forecast. I'll talk more about that coming up a bit later.
All right. Thanks so much, Jacob. We'll check back in a bit. Meanwhile, you're taking a live look now at the White House, where topping our news this morning, the latest federal government cuts from the Trump administration being directed at NASA. According to NASA, over 3,000 employees accepted the agency's offer for deferred resignation, early retirement, or voluntary separation. The deadline for the resignation program was midnight on Friday. The remaining civil servant workforce is expected to be about 14,000, but the number may fluctuate in the coming days. The agency ensures that safety remains a top concern for them as they develop a more streamlined and efficient organization. These latest cuts come days after 287 scientists and employees criticized NASA for the cuts that they say could pose a risk to astronauts. And Israel says it will resume aid airdrops into Gaza and open humanitarian corridors for UN convoys. The move follows weeks of international pressure and a growing hunger crisis. CBS's Haley Ott in our London bureau has the latest.
5-month-old Zainab Abu Halib died today of malnutrition. Unable to access the formula that might have saved her, her doctor says, she spent the majority of her short life fighting to survive. That fight is over now. The United Nations says the entire population of Gaza is facing the risk of starvation, and children are bearing the brunt of the suffering. Since April, the number of child deaths from malnutrition has jumped from 52 to 85, the Hamas-run Ministry of Health says, and 6,500 children are in treatment, according to UNICEF, the highest number since the start of the war. Israel says it's allowing aid into Gaza, but the UN isn't distributing it. The UN says Israel's creating obstacles that make distribution near impossible, forcing Palestinians on perilous journeys to try to find any food they can. My children haven't eaten in a week, Smood Wahad says. I give my children water and salt to drink. Some seek aid at distribution centers run by the private U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. There have been multiple reports of Israeli forces shooting and killing aid seekers around those sites. U.S. Special Forces veteran Anthony Aguilar told CBS News partner network BBC News he worked as a contractor for GHF, then resigned.
In my entire career have I never witnessed the level of brutality and use of indiscriminate and unnecessary force against a civilian population, an unarmed, starving population.
GHF refuted Aguilar's claims, calling them materially false, and said they'd fired him for misconduct. The Israeli military says following reports of harm to civilians, instructions had been issued to its forces in the field, and specific incidents were under review.
Israel has said it will begin humanitarian airdrops and reopen humanitarian corridors inside the Gaza Strip, but stressed that it would continue combat operations.
And states will soon get billions of dollars of funding for public schools that was previously withheld by the Trump administration. The Department of Education says the more than $5 billion in funding will be returned to states starting next week. Last month, the administration announced it was withholding nearly $7 billion in funds, so the White House Office of Management and Budget could conduct a review. The funds had already been appropriated by Congress. Last week, the White House announced it was releasing over $1 billion of the frozen funding for after-school programming. The administration says there will be guardrails to make sure the funds will be used in ways that align with the president's priorities. And back to school is up on US, and there's a new twist to the 3 R's: reading, writing, and rising prices. CBS's Ali Bauman is in New York with more on the rush to buy school supplies.
A little bit more than I expected, but what can you do?
Frank Hernandez is prepared to go over budget.
What about that one?
On his daughter's backpacks and notebooks this year.
Everything has gone up. I look at it like I just gotta work harder.
He hopes the early bird gets the better deal.
No?
Do you normally do back-to-school shopping in July?
No, but they usually have the best deals at that time.
A survey by the National Retail Federation found 67% of back-to-school shoppers started buying supplies, clothes, and electronics the first week of July, up from 55% last year. More than half are concerned about looming tariffs and inflation that ticked up in June. 3/4 are expecting higher prices.
Most consumers who say they're shopping early say it's because they're worried that prices will be more expensive later on in the year.
Catherine Cullen with the National Retail Federation.
And they're trying to behave rationally when at times there's just a lot of unknowns happening.
Walmart says they're able to keep prices similar to last year because they bought and shipped a majority of inventory in bulk ahead of tariffs. Shoppers say hitting the stores early allows them to compare prices.
We're shopping where we can afford. At this point, I have to focus on what the prices actually are and make sure that I plan and budget accordingly.
And Target also says its back-to-school prices are, for the most part, the same as last year. But in a sign of the times, the retailer is ending its 12-year-old policy and will no longer match prices to identical products sold by Amazon or Walmart. That starts Monday. Ali Bauman, CBS News, New York.
And in its report, the NRF predicts families will spend a total of about $128 billion on supplies this year, up from $125 billion last year. But that reflects an increase in the number of consumers and not individual spending, which is expected to be lower this year. Time now, 7:09, still ahead. An Uber update aimed to help women feel more safe. Plus, how much longer is that heat going to stick around? Jacob has the answer on Weekend Mornings. Well, if you head out the door this morning, you may not see much with the fog. Is that right, Jacob?
Yeah, and then by the afternoon, you'll be able to see a lot, but it's going to be pretty hot as we have alert days in the forecast for today and tomorrow for those hot temperatures. Storms then are expected for the overnight hours, not just tonight, but also Monday night. And then once we get to Wednesday, conditions will be a lot more comfortable. Now, as we take a look at the alert day information, heat index values will be up to 100, and this is going to be for all of southern Wisconsin, but especially in southwest Wisconsin, where heat index values could get a little bit above 100. And it does look like Monday maybe even hotter than today. So let's take a look at the heat index forecast. Middle to upper 90s are expected for pretty much the entire area today. Again, maybe close to 100 in southwest Wisconsin, but the 100-degree heat index values are a bit more likely for Monday. Take a look. Could get up to 107 in far southern Wisconsin for Platteville, so definitely going to see very warm temperatures for tomorrow, today as well, but tomorrow, as you can see, a little bit hotter. And then as we get into Tuesday, still warm, not quite as bad. Heat index values will get up to the lower 90s. And then Wednesday, there will be a dramatic drop in temperatures. And I'll talk about that in a moment, but I do want to mention the chance of rain tonight and tomorrow night. No rain right now, but as we talked about, there is fog. And you can see right now all the white you're seeing, all the white gray, that's the fog. And then watch it completely clear out of the area over the next couple of hours. By the afternoon, we're going to see plenty of sunshine, but we are going to see some rain move into the area late in the night. So pretty much no rain today, but as we get late into the night and early Monday morning, we'll see some showers and storms move into our area from the west, bringing in a small chance of severe weather. The chance of severe weather will be a little bit greater the further west you're located, but everyone expected to see rain at some point, maybe some heavy rain. But that's going to be very brief, going to clear out very quickly Monday morning, and then Monday afternoon will feature a lot of sunshine again, with a similar situation Monday night as storms will roll into the area. The bulk of the storms rolling into the area from the west again. Once again, bringing in a small chance of severe weather as these storms push from west to east, bringing in some heavy rain. And unlike Monday, it will clear out Tuesday morning as well, but unlike Monday, we are going to see some possible additional showers and storms in the afternoon, whereas Monday, once that rain clears out in the morning, we're pretty much done for rain for the rest of the day. But Tuesday, we could still see some more showers, mainly in southern Wisconsin. But the big story is that temperatures will be dropping for Wednesday and through the end of the week, as highs could be in the upper 70s for several days in a row. And we also are going to be seeing lower humidity values, so it's going to feel a lot more comfortable. So in general, hot today and tomorrow, storms overnight, storms possibly during the day for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then dry and very comfortable for the end of the week.
All right, Jacob, thank you. And hey, you know what they say, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. Well, cheers, because today is National Scotch Day. Not any old whiskey will do. To be Scotch, it has to be made in Scotland, made from malted barley, aged in oak barrels for at least 3 years, and be less than 94.8% alcohol. You can mark the day by enjoying a glass with your friends, attend a Scotch tasting at a whiskey bar, or host your own tasting. You can post to the social media hashtag National Scotch Day. Bonus points if you wear a kilt. I like that. Fun fact, there are 5 types of Scotch: single malt, single grain, blended malt, blended grain, and blended. I did not know that.
I'm not a big Scotch drinker.
Me neither. So.
And before the break, here's your weekend playlist. Now, this morning is particularly special for me, but let's take a listen, and then I'll explain why. So today is my 1-year wedding anniversary, and I picked this song in particular as it is my wife's favorite song of all time. Could have gone with our slow dance song, but that's a better morning motivation song. Great song, Move Along.
So yeah, it is a wonderful song. I didn't know, I thought you were going to go with your slow dance song, so when that started playing, I was like, that's
not a slow dance song.
That's a real choice, but wow, okay, Jacob.
No, that is the song that reminds me of her the most. So if you're watching, if she's not, I'll definitely show this later, but love you, Emily.
Yes, Emily, happy anniversary to you both. Send your weekend playlist pick to Michelle Renee via email at mrquinn@WISC-TV.com. Add playlist pick to the subject line and tune in on weekend mornings to hear your song. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back. So I've been talking about the rain chances tonight and tomorrow night, but there are other rain chances later in the week. We'll see some additional showers and storms Tuesday afternoon and then again on Wednesday. It looks like Wednesday will be the best chance of rain during the day. But then once that clears out on Wednesday, like later in the day, Wednesday and into Thursday, we're pretty much done with rain for the rest of the week. We will see some towards the end of the 10-day forecast, but here's a look at the 7-day precipitation chances. So we are going to see those increases tonight and then maybe to Monday night again, like I mentioned. And then Wednesday night comes and it drops off and it stays pretty much at an almost 0% chance through next weekend. And I've been talking about the temperatures during that time. So very ideal conditions are in the forecast once we get there.
Definitely, Jacob. Thank you. And in Denver, thousands of community members sat for a lunch at what organizers said was the longest table in the U.S. The nonprofit group Longer Tables said it had placed over 5,000 people to dine on regional fare, which included 1,300 pounds of chicken and more than 2 tons of produce from local farmers and ranchers. The idea for a mile-long table was inspired by Denver's nickname as the Mile High City. No word yet on how many people actually attended, but sounds like kind of my worst nightmare in terms of a mile-long dinner table. You can't talk to anybody on the mile away now. But anyways, the time now is 7:21, still ahead on weekend mornings. Before we head to the break, let's take a look at your gas prices. We're back at the bottom of the hour. Right now, tragic new details in a fatal crash in DeForest last weekend.
And we're seeing foggy conditions right now with alert day temperatures later in the day. The full forecast is coming up.
Plus, what's bringing down the house over on Madison's east side? It's Atwood Fest. Good morning again. On this Sunday morning, you're watching Weekend Mornings. Once again, I'm Armand Rahman filling in for Michelle Renee Quinn today.
And I'm meteorologist Jacob Montesano. It's Sunday, July 27th, and it's a foggy start to the morning, which means we need some motivation for this.
I think we do, Jacob. Take it away. What's this quote?
You know that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you're excited for the day? That's one of my main goals in life.
And you know what, Jacob? I'm excited to start the day with you. Let's get some water.
Me too. Yeah, it is. The story right now is it's very foggy out there. Visibility down to near zero for a lot of locations. Not quite as bad in Madison, but areas to the west, very low visibility. Definitely take it easy if you are heading to, or I almost said work. Most people don't work today, but if you're heading anywhere for throughout the morning, as we do have a dense fog advisory until 9 a.m. Now, the fog will clear up very quickly once we get to around 9 to 10 a.m., but then we're going to have really the alert day set in, which is for the temperatures, where we're going to have heat index values up near 100, and this is going to be for today and tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow may be even warmer. Now, as we look at the current temperatures, upper 60s to lower 70s, definitely humid out there with those foggy conditions, and actual temperatures will likely reach the 90-degree mark, possibly a little bit more, but the heat index values expected to get into the middle 90s, maybe close to 100 for some areas. And as I mentioned, tomorrow will be worse. I'll talk about that in a moment, but here's a look at the forecast kind of throughout the day. 80s as early as around 10 to 11 a.m. And then, like I said, if we hit 90 or not, still a bit unclear, but the heat index values pretty easily in the 90s. So definitely take it easy if you have any outdoor plans. And I'll talk more about the heat index forecast tomorrow and show you a few chances of rain the next couple of days, all coming up a bit later.
All right, Jacob, thanks. Check back in with you in a bit. Meanwhile, new this morning, authorities in Michigan are investigating a mass casualty event at a Walmart after a man allegedly stabbed at least 11 people inside. 6 of them are now in critical condition. And as CBS's Christian Benavidez reports, there's a suspect in custody thanks to quick action by bystanders.
Video obtained by CBS News shows the moment bystanders confronted a man suspected of going on a stabbing spree inside a Walmart in Traverse City, Michigan, Saturday. In a statement, the sheriff's office acknowledged the help from civilians and said a 42-year-old suspect acting alone used a folding knife to stab 11 people. The incident happened around 4:45 in the afternoon. The victims were rushed to local hospitals. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer said she was in touch with law enforcement and thanked first responders for their swift response. Walmart told CBS News violence like this is unacceptable. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino wrote that FBI personnel are responding to provide any necessary support. The county sheriff said the victims consisted of 6 men and 5 women, and that at least 3 of the victims had to undergo surgery. The attack appeared to have been random, according to authorities, who have not yet released a motive. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
Meanwhile, a second person is dead in the aftermath of the overnight crash that happened in DeForest last weekend. The Wisconsin State Patrol reported a second teen died after a fatal crash on I-3990 near DeForest last Sunday. The driver was identified as a 19-year-old from Clara City, Minnesota. An initial investigation showed an SUV drove the wrong way and struck a vehicle traveling northbound. The SUV driver was arrested for driving while intoxicated. The Wisconsin State Patrol reported on Tuesday another Minnesota teen had died in that crash. And Monona police arrest a man Friday after reaching speeds of nearly 100 miles per hour. Officers reported the man was going 99 miles per hour on US 12 and Southtown Road. They conducted a traffic stop north of East Broadway. Monona police reported the driver refused to submit to a field sobriety test, and he was placed into custody. The 37-year-old Verona man was arrested for a third OWI. And staying in Monona, a Madison teen is arrested Friday for his alleged involvement in a stolen vehicle pursuit. Monona police received reports of a stolen vehicle on East Broadway. Officers attempted to pull that vehicle over, but it sped away. Officers continued that chase, and the vehicle would eventually pull into an empty parking lot along Waubesa Street. The driver and 2 passengers then get out and ran. They were able to catch one of them. The person identified was one of the passengers. The driver and other passenger remain at large. Now imagine a classroom dedicated to opening up the world of science for neurodivergent kids. That's exactly what one UW professor created for free. But our Ellie LaLiberte shows us how the National Science Foundation cuts announced in the spring could change how he does that.
We're making solar ovens today.
Michael Notaro believes that science should be shared, which is why he started STEM camps in Beloit, the Wisconsin Dells, and here at the Henry Vilas Zoo.
The main goals of the camps is to support the kind of interest and pursuit of science degrees and careers, to foster and support neurodiversity and to celebrate it.
His biggest inspiration is his family.
My son Hayden, he's 12 years old. He's autistic. He's a real joy. My wife Dawn is also autistic.
But this year, the camp funding was cut
because of concerns related to DEI.
Notaro's camps ran on a grant from the National Science Foundation, which saw widespread cuts from the Trump administration.
That was pretty crushing.
Leaving Notaro relying almost solely on private donors.
It's disappointing because, you know, in essence, what this is doing is we're supporting science, we're supporting youth, we're supporting diversity.
He says he's looking for alternative sources of funding, but many of the grants that would have applied to his camp just aren't there anymore.
In the long term, my goal is really to see that this kind of program expands, doesn't just sustain, but expands.
For one of the education instructors, Silverius Materi, the camps open up the joys of the zoo.
There's like an excitement, they're ready to explore.
According to Materi, this is the largest camp the zoo has seen so far.
So to continue to have funding for things like this is just becoming more and more important every day, not less and less important.
Notaro says families will drive hours to attend these camps.
The kids are learning how to become advocates for themselves, also building friendships with others, and that's something we don't want to see come to an end.
Reporting at the Henry Vilas Zoo, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. Notaro is not sure what the future of his program will look like, but says he's planning on applying for funding through the UW. And a Madison festival works to help people with disabilities take pride in themselves. The 10th annual Madison Disability Pride Festival aims to be accessible to people of all abilities. From mats to help wheelchairs navigate over grass to allergen-sensitive food vendors, the goal is to allow everyone to enjoy the festivities. Organizers also say the event helps people with disabilities connect to others who understand them.
First of all, people with disabilities are the one minority that anyone can join at any time. You know, we don't know how things are going to work out. And so I think access is everyone's issue because sooner or later it may be yours. We try and create a community around people with disabilities so that, you know, you have other friends who are like you. It's having a community that gets you that's so important to us.
And organizers say thanks to their generous sponsors, they were able to provide the food at the festival for free. And Atwood Fest turns it up to 11 on Madison's east side. The longtime summer staple brings food and drinks, live music, craft vendors, and more to Atwood Avenue. Organizers work to make sure old music favorites return while also bringing in new bands to keep the festival sound fresh for return visitors.
We always have something traditional, something borrowed, and something new. So we always have our traditional bands like Steely Dan and VO5, and then we always have our borrowed bands that played here last year that did a good job. We're putting them in a different position. And then, of course, new bands who never played the festival before. It's their first time. And it's always fun seeing those bands come in and experience what it's like to be at this festival that's different from everyone else because it's embedded right into the neighborhood.
And the event runs through the weekend with live music starting up again at noon today. Well, the time now about 7:35. Still ahead, we break down hormones and why they're important to women's health in your health conversations. And Jacob is back with your full forecast on Weekend Mornings. Stick around. Welcome back again to Weekend Mornings. I'm Armand Rahman. Michelle Renee Quinn is off today. Well, it's only July, but back to school right around the corner. And there's a new twist to the 3 R's: reading, writing, and rising prices. CBS's Ali Bauman is in New York with more on the rush to buy school supplies.
A little bit more than I expected, but what can you do?
Frank Hernandez is prepared to go over budget.
What about that one?
On his daughter's backpacks and notebooks this year.
Everything has gone up. I look at it like I just gotta work harder.
He hopes the early bird gets the better deal.
No?
Do you normally do back-to-school shopping in July?
No, but they usually have the best deals at that time.
A survey by the National Retail Federation found 67% of back-to-school shoppers started buying supplies, clothes, and electronics the first week of July, up from 55% last year. More than half are concerned about looming tariffs and inflation that ticked up in June. 3/4 are expecting higher prices.
Most consumers who say they're shopping early say it's because they're worried that prices will be more expensive later on in the year.
Catherine Cullen with the National Retail Federation.
And they're trying to behave rationally when at times there's just a lot of unknowns happening.
Walmart says they're able to keep prices similar to last year because they bought and shipped a majority of inventory in bulk ahead of tariffs. Shoppers say hitting the stores early allows them to compare prices.
We're shopping where we can afford. At this point, I have to focus on what the prices actually are and make sure that I plan and budget accordingly.
And Target also says its back-to-school prices are, for the most part, the same as last year. But in a sign of the times, the retailer is ending its 12-year-old policy and will no longer match prices to identical products sold by Amazon or Walmart. That starts Monday. Ali Bauman, CBS News, New York.
And in its report, the NRF predicts families will spend a total of $128 billion on supplies this year, up from $125 billion last year. But that reflects an increase in the number of consumers, not individual spending, which is expected to be lower this year. And the latest federal government cuts from the Trump administration are being directed at NASA. According to NASA, over 3,000 employees accepted the agency's offer for deferred resignation, early retirement, or voluntary separation. The deadline for the resignation program was midnight on Friday. The remaining civil servant workforce is expected to be about 14,000, but the number may fluctuate in the coming days. The agency ensures safety remains a top concern for them as they develop a more streamlined and efficient organization. Now, these latest cuts come days after 287 scientists and employees criticized NASA for the cuts that they say could pose a risk to astronauts. Well, Jacob Madison is here with your certified most accurate forecast, tracking a foggy, hot day. Jacob.
Yeah, temperatures are going to get up into the upper 80s to low 90s. Heat index value is a bit higher, but it is going to be dry for much of the day. And although temperatures will be possibly even warmer tomorrow, we are going to see a noticeable dip in the comfortability across the area. Now, the temperatures will drop Wednesday, but we're still going to see some storms Wednesday, so humidity values will still be up. But look at Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. it is going to be a lot better. And as I mentioned, temperatures will drop. Highs will be in the upper 70s, also looking to be fairly dry. And even beyond just the next 10 days, if we look at the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, we are expecting temperatures to at the very least be near normal. And there's no signs suggesting that the temperatures we're going to see today and tomorrow will come back once we get to the middle of the week. So much nicer weather is just around the corner.
All right, Jacob, thank you. And today, we're diving into a topic that affects every woman at every age, hormones. Our Kyrian Lee joins us for this morning's health conversation with Dr. Rupa Shah.
From puberty to menopause and everything in between, they impact everything from mood to metabolism. Joining us to break it all down is Dr. Rupa Shah, a family medicine physician and wellness coach with SSM Health. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's get right into it. Let's start with the basics. Why are hormones so critical to women's health?
Yeah, so hormones really keep our body in rhythm. They're the messengers that keep our body in balance. And when one of those is off, it's really easy to kind of feel the symptoms of that, right? So even small shifts in hormones can really cause dramatic symptoms sometimes for people. So high stress can lead to higher cortisol, or not eating right can lead to insulin dysregulation, which can lead to diabetes, can make you feel off. So hormones, whether we think about them or not, they're always in the background, and they're very important to kind of overall homeostasis.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what kind of lifestyle changes or choices can we, make or change to, keep them more intact?
Yeah. People ask all the time, right? How can I balance, quote unquote, balance my hormones? There's no magic pill. There's no magic supplement that's going to help do this. I really think it comes down to lifestyle measures. So again, it's the basics. It's nutrition, it's sleep, and it's movement. These, I really would say, are the three pillars of just kind of keeping those hormones in balance. The way we eat and what we eat can help balance our insulin hormones. Movement, always really important, right? To stay healthy, to feel energetic, and feel motivated throughout the day. And sleep, when we don't sleep well, this also affects our hunger hormones, ghrelin, leptin. So when we think about hormones in the context of like healthy lifestyle habits, that's really the crux of where it's at and where it's going to start.
All right, so all little things we can do day by day to improve those hormones.
Yep.
So we often think of hormones in terms of periods or pregnancies, but obviously it goes way beyond that, right?
Yes. There's also other periods of time. If we even think about a woman during perimenopause, now that's a stage where we're seeing larger fluctuations of the female hormones, right? Fluctuating estrogen and progesterone levels, which can make people feel less energetic, moody or irritable, hot flashes. And these hormones are a little bit more difficult to manage, and we also have help for women who are looking to balance those hormones during that period of time.
Okay, and before we go, any practical tips for women watching right now?
Yeah, so again, focus on those basics. Don't get so caught up in like, what are the supplements and pills that I can take, but really go back to the basics. What is your nutrition like? How much processed food are you eating? How much caffeine are you drinking? Try and limit alcohol. Look at your movement. Are you getting both the aerobic activity, but are you also doing strength training? How is your sleep? These are the areas that you really want to focus on. And if you're struggling with those, talk to your physician, because maybe there's some ways that we can help, or some tips or advice we can give you to improve upon those areas, which will have some good reverberating effects on your hormone levels.
All right, all good tips there. Got to take it all in. Yes. Well, Dr. Shah, we want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And still ahead, the Brewers still on a killer streak this month in sports. And Jacob has another look at your final forecast when we come back.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. Alert day temperatures are expected today, with some storms expected overnight tonight and overnight tomorrow night, with more comfortable temperatures once we get to Wednesday. But looking at the alert day information, this is for today and tomorrow for all of southern Wisconsin, as heat index values expected to get up near 100. So looking at that forecast, middle to upper 90s at least are expected. Again, some areas, especially in southwest Wisconsin, could see the temperatures get up to around 100. I should say heat index values. And then for Monday, we're going to see possibly even warmer temperatures, maybe near 105 in far southern Wisconsin, with most of the area once again getting at least into the middle and upper 90s. And then for Tuesday, still going to be warm, but starting to get better. And then it will be a lot better once we get to Wednesday. Now, as we look at the current radar, we're not seeing any rainfall right now. We are seeing that fog, but once that clears out, it's going to be a very clear day, and it will clear out very quickly over the next couple of hours. Plenty of sunshine, those in the forecast for this afternoon. Storms will then move in overnight from the west, bringing in some minor severe weather, but everyone should still see at least rain in the vicinity. Could see some pockets of heavy rain as these thunderstorms will roll through. And then they're going to last a little bit after sunrise Monday, but they're also going to clear out very quickly. Once we get to the late morning and early afternoon, we'll see plenty of sunshine again, with another round of some showers and storms expected for the overnight hours Monday into Tuesday. Again, some showers and storms, especially to the west, and the line of storms will move into our area from the west, once again bringing the chance of severe weather, but still could see some heavy rain for everybody. And the best chance of severe weather in both cases will be west of Madison. Here's a look at tonight's severe weather outlook. Madison and areas to the west under that marginal risk. Slight risk further northwest for you folks further north in La Crosse and Eau Claire. And then for Monday night, a little bit smaller of a severe weather risk, but still could see that marginal risk for areas west of Madison. And looking at the full 10-day forecast, we're going to continue to see the chance of storms for Tuesday and Wednesday, but those temperatures will fall Tuesday into Wednesday, and then those highs in the 70s are going to continue for the rest of the week, where we'll be dry with lower humidity values as well.
All right, Jacob, thank you. And now for your Sunday morning sports fix, let's head to our Jalen Banks.
The Brewers may have lost their title of best record in baseball, but they're still on a heater. The Crew were 14-5 in July and look to get back in the win column against the Marlins. Brewers at home against the Marlins looking to stay hot. We head to the fourth inning. Score tied 2 apiece, and Bryce Terang at the plate with one on, and Terang shoots the gap, bringing in Isaac Collins. Brewers take the lead 3-2. Then in the sixth, Marlins leading 5-3, and Dane Myers will join us at the plate. He's got a runner on, and he hits a 2-run homer. And that's all the Marlins would need. They go on to take the lead 7-3 at the time and go on to win it 7-4. And next week, the Crew play the Cubs in a critical series. On Tuesday night, you can watch the Brewers right here on our sister station on television, Wisconsin. John Blackwell was under-recruited in high school, but proved people wrong his first year in college. After making the Big Ten All-Freshman team, he made a big jump last season. And there was speculation he would hear his name called in the NBA draft. After Wisconsin's run in March Madness, the guard declared for the NBA draft, worked out for a few NBA teams, and got some pretty good feedback. And most importantly, he was able to grow his game. The Michigan native ultimately decided to return to UW for his junior season, but says this past summer was an absolute game changer.
Well, yeah, it was a blessing to be able to test the draft waters and get my name in there. I had some pretty good workouts for some really good teams.
Just getting better at my game, getting more physical, getting stronger, being a better defender off the ball. So things like that, and I'm just going to do it this year. Got great feedback, had a good pro day. And just, this is my decision to come back and, try to be there next year on June 25th, get my name called. So, yeah.
To the Twin Cities now for the third round of the 3M Open. We head to the 8th hole, and Thurberson Olsen with one of the best shots you're going to see of the year, something you would see in maybe a trick shot contest. Olsen would make this crazy hole-in-one from over 200 yards out. He would finish 18 under on the day, heading into the lead, tied for first place. Tomorrow's final will be right here on CBS.
And let's take a look at what's ahead for the rest of your Sunday morning. First off, Tracy Smith has a look at what's on this edition of Sunday Morning on CBS.
This weekend, we're off to see the Wizard as you've never seen him before.
What do you want people to take away when they see the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere?
There's no place like home.
Do you want to race? Plus, the many memorable roles of actor Kristen Scott Thomas.
It's quite moving, actually, when you see yourself at sort of 30, doing something, acting your socks off.
There'd be happiness. And Michael Feinstein plays the American Songbook. Listen for the trumpet.
Coming up this morning on For the Record, we recap the earth-rattling Wisconsin political news that Governor Evers will not seek a third term in office, plus insight into new national polling and the impact of student borrowing. That's ahead this morning at 10:30 on For the Record.
And here's one final look at your forecast. We're going to see alert days today and tomorrow for the hot temperatures, as we're going to see heat index values near 100, actual temperatures in the low 90s. Storms are possible later tonight into very early Monday, and then again Monday night into Tuesday. Could see some more storms Tuesday and Wednesday during the day, and then Tuesday into Wednesday temperatures are going to drop dramatically, and we also will see lower humidity values with highs in the upper 70s, and that is expected to continue through the end of the week. And as I've been talking about throughout the entire show, Armand, I'm very much looking forward to Wednesday and beyond. It will rain for Wednesday, but Thursday and the next weekend looking perfect.
There we go. Just got to get through this hot hump.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you much, Jacob. And thank you so much for watching Weekend Mornings. Coming up next is CBS Sunday Morning, followed by Face the Nation, and then Will Keneally with For the Record. Our next newscast is coming up at 5:30 p.m., and we'll always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. Have a great day, everyone.